welcome to our next episode of Prosperity Builders. And we are really excited about our new guest today. And Scott, you want to tell us a little bit about her?
Oh my gosh. Well, Deesha, Sunnassee, we had a great opportunity to chat over the phone and maybe interact a little bit, over the course of the last couple of years, just in real estate transactions. And so it's such a pleasure to have you here. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Prosperity Builders overall. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and just talk a little bit about our new branding.
Absolutely. One of the things that's been exciting is watching new agents flourish. And so we've kind of watched Deesha's business begin to grow and flourish over the last couple of years. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved in real estate, because that's kind of an interesting story.
Yeah, so it happened probably about 6 years ago. So real estate's actually all I've really ever done in my adult life, per se. So I went to UNCG, graduated from there, and I started working for ADP, which is kind of like a human resource and payroll company. At ADP, it took me just about 6 months to really hate it, and that's nothing against the company.
Right.
The company was great, and the culture was great. It was just, it wasn't for me. Working for someone else, having to be told, you need to be here at this time and whatnot, it just didn't work for me very well. And I think at heart, I was kind of always meant to be a realtor, and I know that sounds very cliche, but back in high school, I had known an older real estate agent, someone who I'm sure people in the area probably know pretty well, but
you can mention her.
Okay, perfect, yeah. So Linda Faircloth was a realtor at Caldwell Banker.
Yeah.
She recently passed away last year, so that was a little bit, kind of a weak moment for me, but she kind of gave me my first introduction to real estate, and she allowed me to kind of shadow her through open houses, things like that when I was in high school. So just starting from that pretty early, 17, 18 years old, around there, she kind of put that in my head, and ultimately, I actually didn't want to go to college, and I wanted to get a real estate license.
Right.
And thank God for parents, because they stopped me and they were like, hey, think about this. To get anywhere, you need a college degree. Really think about going to college. And I ultimately went to UNCG, and then, they kind of said, if you still want to do real estate later on, do it then. And I'm so glad they did that, because I, at 18, would have been an epic failure. Whereas at 22, I had gained some maturity and could really figure out, how to start running a business. So ultimately, it took me a week to decide to quit my job, sell my car, get a less expensive car payment, and live off of the money that I had saved up, and join a real estate firm in the Triad and sell real estate. And by the time, like I told Scott, by the time that I got my first real estate commission check, I had about $500 left in my bank account from everything I had saved. So it was really kind of like a make it or go home. Do something else, find another job,
Absolutely.
find a
You
salary.
brought up a really good point, and I think a lot of people don't realize is when you first start in the business, it's not like all of a sudden you start making sales, and it takes 6-8 months. Sometimes for someone to make that first sale.
Yes.
So you were really smart. I think that's something that a lot of people could take from this is save.
Yes.
Have at least 6 months worth of savings before you ever get into the business. And that, I don't know who, maybe Linda told you that.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think
she did.
That was really smart of her, and that was probably the best advice.
She definitely ingrained it in me. And originally, when I, found what real estate company I was going to go to, I had kind of made a deal with the broker in charge there, and I said, okay, it's April now. How about this? I'll save up money until August. I'll go to real estate school in August, and that was on a Saturday morning. And by my brother-in-law jokes, because he's like, on Saturday you had a job, on Wednesday you were doing something else. And it's true, because by Sunday night I had signed up for real estate school, and by Monday morning I was going in at 5 a.m. to empty my cube so that
Wow.
no one noticed I was leaving so quickly, and I didn't have to do it, with everyone there. But
Right.
I just I went in when the workday started, and I was like, I gotta go. This isn't for me.
Right.
And actually, from ADP, 2 other girls from there actually went into real estate.
Did they really?
Kind of right after me. Yeah, I
Wow.
had a good year of success,
Mm-hmm.
and they both actually. I think one of them's still in real estate. The other one, I think, is kind of taking a break. But
Nothing more attractive than seeing someone else succeed, and
Yes.
you're like, I want some of that.
yes,
Right?
for sure,
Yeah.
it's
Sure.
contagious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's contagious, and same thing. It goes back to something I thought about before. Is I kind of realized that maybe that this is what I was going to be good at, and if it was, going to be meant for me, then I would do well in it. And if it wasn't, then I'd have to get out of it, and I'd have to kind of accept that I tried and go back to
Yeah.
what 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 pay was like.
Sure.
And for me, it was, the motivation primarily was helping families and then making money. And I figured if I put my head down, do the work, the money will come. And that's how I've always been.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like, we talked about this on the phone, and Karen just touched on it too, was there's nothing like that sense of urgency
Yes.
to create motivation in
Yeah.
you to do what was necessary, because I think a lot of folks might go into it with the idea like, oh, this is going to be an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when bills need to be paid and you've only got $500 in the account, it's like, I've got to
And
close.
mom and dad aren't there to
Yeah,
support you.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
I got to close
Exactly.
deals. How did
Yeah.
that form you as you kind of began, really launching your real estate career, that sense of urgency? And
The sense of urgency for me was pretty real. And fortunately enough, I have great parents, and they, if I needed the help,
Oh,
would have
sure.
helped me.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's very prideful, and that's like, nope, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking the help from
Right.
anyone. And I think that's really what created that sense of urgency, and really to be better than I was before. I had a really sloppy upbringing in terms of high school, and there was a part of me that was like, I need to not be that anymore. And the urgency was to prove to myself, prove to my family, and then prove to my bank account that
Yeah.
I could do it. And there was that just that urgency from that. And I think there's a difference between wanting to do well and needing to do well, right?
Wow.
And they're huge, because I see a lot of agents now who come into real estate, and and it's no fault of theirs, but the need to do well isn't necessarily there. Therefore, the daily actions to actually do well also don't
I think
exist
that
with
is
it.
so
That's a
key,
very
right?
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The need to do well versus the want to do
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure most successful agents that you talk to
Yeah.
are probably saying the same thing,
Yeah.
is that they needed to
Yeah.
do better.
Well, we've also talked with Chris Pappalardo and Beth Sauer over the last few episodes, and that same theme ran through as I had to succeed. I
Yep.
didn't have an option to provide for my family. I had to really,
And there was that need.
there
Yes.
was the need.
It's
Yes.
that need, or what everyone also says, your why.
Yes.
What is your why?
Yep.
And what motivates you to continue going? So as you grew, and you grew as an individual agent, now you've come out with this new, you're rebranding yourself. And rebranding yourself with a couple other agents, correct?
Yes.
And so tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about how the name came and
Okay.
We'll let you tell the name because it's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the name of it is the Hive Real Estate. Deesha
Hive,
Sunnassee.
H-I-V-E.
Yes, Hive, Deesha Sunnassee and Associates. We're powered by Berkshire Hathaway. And really the need for the name came from the fact that, slowly but surely, I have got 3 girls who are agents that are working on my team now, and we've got 1 admin. But those 3 girls really were having to use my name for everything. And the only is, a lot of agents do that, and a lot of agents have, whatever real estate group or whatever their name is.
Sure.
And that's fine, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted the girls to feel like there was some sort of inclusiveness to this for them, and that they had something to be proud of and something to be a part of that wasn't just growing my name. So the name of it was really meant to be expandable in the terms of, anyone else in the future who joins us
Right.
doesn't feel like they're just working to grow me, right? I want them to feel like they're working to grow themselves.
Sure.
And anywhere else that they go, they can kind of say,
That's
oh,
great.
okay, this is where I worked, and feel proud of it. I think that's the bottom line. And then, there's kind of a twofold thing to this, is that my husband and I are getting our first set of bees this spring.
That's right.
So we'll be amateur beekeepers. It's something I've always been interested in, and he's very much like me, and we're interested in very like holistic things and very nature-driven things. So our first set of bees is part of why I wanted to go with the Hive. I feel like bees are incredible units. They work well together. They're efficient. They each have their task and their jobs
Right.
that they're good at, and that's kind of how our team runs right now, is that we know that Crystal on our team is great with social media and planning and organizational things and whatnot. So tomorrow at our team meeting, we're going to be covering some social media training that she's going to lead. It doesn't always have to be me. Kelsey's great with just being thoughtful in general.
Right.
And then Danielle's got a lot of connections in the area. She's been around here forever, and tons of people know her, especially from previous jobs that she's had. And so I think everyone brings something to the table that I may not have all of it, all encompassed, but it's kind of a well-oiled machine. And then I could never forget Tia, because she is what keeps us all
Holds
on track.
everyone together, right?
Yes,
She's the queen bee, right?
Yes, yes.
bee, right.
She holds us all accountable for
That's great.
what we've got going on, what we're doing, when things are due. She is our paperwork queen, and that's, we need her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you transition? You started in real estate. You had kind of gotten a little bit, some great life lessons from Linda, which is great. Linda
Yep.
was a mentor to a lot of people over
Yes.
the years.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
an icon in our industry. So
Yeah.
you really got a great
I lucked out.
start. You
Yeah.
did start there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, how did you start? You probably, I don't know that you had a great sphere of influence, did you?
No.
How did you begin, cultivating that? Because I know when we talked, you had a pretty fantastic first 6 months in the business.
Yes, I did. So when I was with Jason Bramblett to begin with. So that is where I went, and honestly, it was a great place to start. So within my first 6 months in the business, it was like my first 4. I think it was right over like 3 or 4 million or so in volume and production. So I can't remember if it was that
Was
exactly.
that all buyer agency kind of
Yes.
work? Yes.
Exactly. So I was just a buyer's agent for Jason Bramblett for about 3 years. And it taught me, how to kind of read the room on both sides. Because by the time I got to Berkshire Hathaway and started listing homes and things like that, I knew what buyers would be looking at, because at that point I had really cultivated all of the knowledge from just working with buyers. So when I started in real estate, I was 22. At 22, not very many of your friends are buying houses. Their
Right.
parents don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about, how you would treat their home or
Right.
whatnot. So getting sphere of influence leads was really minimal. But the good thing is that he ran a team where he was providing leads, and cold calling was a thing of every day.
Sure.
Every day you kind of had to pound the phones away to try to get business. And I think that's where I really learned how to cultivate long-term relationships. You guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but I have several clients who are 2-3 year works in progress from the time we meet to the time they close.
Yeah.
And the reason why I kind of hone into the girls that I have on my team as to why that's so important is I'm like, okay, just because they're not buying tomorrow or next month or next year, I'm like, they might buy in 2 years and you still need money in 2 years.
Yeah.
And you still need to be able to feed your families and do all that. And they're still going to need a home. So really building those relationships and being patient and just kind of working with integrity and just being very transparent is what we like to do. That's our motto,
Your
essentially.
niche, yeah.
Yes.
So what's that cultivation process look like for you?
For us, it's really touching base with people at the beginning. So today Kelsey and I met with a buyer, and it's really going to be Kelsey's buyer. It was more her watching me conduct that first appointment, and we, sat in with him, went over what everything looks like as far as purchasing, the things that he needs to know initially, what's due diligence money, what's earnest money, how does it work, etc.
Right.
What does the market look like? And we talked a little bit more about, how this market is pretty scary.
Yeah.
And it gave him a good idea of what he has to look forward to, even though he's not buying until July.
Right.
We're starting to create that relationship. And along the way, we're going to, get him pre-qualified and help him with that journey as well. So it's really just starting and planting that seed, and taking it all the way to the finish line, no matter, really how long it takes.
So they know, love, and trust you.
Yes.
Those are really the things that
Yeah.
you're doing, is building that relationship so
Yep.
that they know you, they love you, and they
Yep.
trust you for that whole process.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Absolutely.
And you've done a great
Yeah.
job of that over the years, I know. Just as many past client referrals that you get is because they know, love, and trust Karen Foster. And so
Yep.
you've done a great job.
It's
of that.
important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's good that
Absolutely.
you do that.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the questions I always love to ask as we wrap up, and I really only ask this of the agents, is
Yeah.
so if money weren't an object, what would you do for a living?
Okay, so this is always a good question for me, but it's actually really easy for me to answer this. I would own and run a farm. If money wasn't an objective, I would spend my time at home. We would have all sorts of animals, or all sorts of farm animals, really.
Yeah.
And
Cows
Yeah,
and
well,
all that stuff.
actually, so
Big
what I'd have my
chickens.
eye on, yes, I absolutely would
chickens.
love. Yes, gotta have chickens.
Yeah.
Would love to have chickens. I'd love to have like sheep and goats
And bees.
Yep, bees.
Definitely
And
bees.
horses.
Yeah.
Horses are a big one. And I think, and like a miniature cow, maybe not the big cows, but like the miniature cows. And I think I had mentioned to you,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't be slaughtering anything.
Yes.
They would just really be
Just
there.
a place
Yeah.
a place for peace and enjoyment.
Yes, more like
Absolutely.
an animal sanctuary, maybe,
Yeah.
instead of a farm. Like not a working farm, but an animal sanctuary of, rehabilitating hurt animals or things like that. If money wasn't an object, that is what my heart would
So
want
how
to
do you get there? What's that look like to
I
get?
keep working.
Yeah. How do you,
You're
how do you-
young enough. You've got
Yeah,
that goal.
I was gonna
exactly.
say, I was gonna- how do you work?
Exactly.
How do you work smarter and not harder? What does
Yeah.
that look like?
I think smarter is, making sure that our systems are in place and our processes are in place, and that everyone can kind of work as a well-oiled machine. Right now, and I'll be honest with you, we've had a handful of other people ask if they could come and join us, and right now I've said no. And I'm saying no because it's not that I'm going to say no forever. It's just that I have to make sure that the 3 people that are working with me, that I feel partially responsible for their career at this point. And I
Yeah.
don't take that lightly. And I just need to make sure that they are getting to where they want to be and they need to be in order for me to say, okay, yes, I can comfortably teach someone else, how to be on our team and to get to where they want to go. What I don't want is to sacrifice our quality over quantity, because I feel like just adding in a lot of agents and not giving them the
great
right
advice.
structure is not going to be beneficial for me, and it's not going to be beneficial
Yeah.
for them.
Excellent. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yep.
Well, we're excited for you.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank
on your
you.
new venture and new
Yes.
branding. And
Yep.
Right.
we look forward to hearing and seeing more
Awesome.
about you.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
Thank you
thank
guys
you.
so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Never been on a podcast. so
Well,
it's really cool.
the first of many, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So-
I
Yep.
know.
Well, Karen, you want to take us home?
Well, thank you for watching, and look forward our next broadcast coming soon.
Yeah. You guys have a great night.